Hi, my name is Renaldo Wynn, and what a treat today. We just finished the Game Plan for Life breakfast here at Winston-Salem with Coach Gibbs, and was able to connect with one of the star players here, an alumni in the area from Wake Forest. Rusty LaRue played, he was a three-sport athlete, played basketball, football, quarterback, and also played a little baseball. Then went on to play professionally on the basketball side for my own true and favorite Chicago Bulls. Won a few championships there, and I'd like to welcome Rusty LaRue. Rusty, how you doing, man?
Doing great, doing great. It was a wonderful breakfast. It was awesome to hear Coach Gibbs speak.
Great, man. Well, I think the most important thing is I want to get it out the way right from the top, is you played with the Chicago Bulls. Yeah. Had opportunity to win some championships there, and you played with, everybody says, and I also say, it was one of the best players in all the game with Michael Jordan. People all the time just think that greatness just comes. Right. But you had an opportunity to kind of be around that. What were some of those characteristics that you saw in Michael which made him so great and also made you guys great as a team?
Well, I think anytime you have somebody that's been successful, you know, like Coach Gibbs too, is they're highly competitive. Not only are they highly competitive, they have a really good sense of what it takes to be successful as far as work ethic. You don't get successful and win games by just sitting around. And, you know, Michael was one of those guys who was extremely driven, extremely competitive. Obviously, he was blessed with a ton of talent from the Lord and had to, you know, body for basketball and all those things. But just one of the most competitive people I've ever been around, was very internally driven, and also was able to project that to the team and really was able to, you know, push guys as well to get us where we needed to be.
And as a professional athlete yourself, a lot of times having that Christian walk, that faith walk, is sometimes tough because you're always faced with temptation, adversity, all those different things that come along the way. People are always in your ear. How did you deal with a lot of those, you know, just temptations as a professional athlete, but still kept that faith walk as a Christian?
Well, for me, I was one of those guys that you would call a journeyman. So, you know, I bounced around a lot and I had opportunities to try out for a lot of teams. And, you know, my faith and my walk were just really, really strong for me as far as helping me get through that. As you know, a lot of times when you're trying out for a team, you're not guaranteed a contract. You know, you got to make jump shots. You make jump shots, you're going to get paid a lot of money. You don't, and you're going to be going back to the D-League and making a little bit of money. And so for me, my faith really was just something I relied on as far as being able to trust the Lord, that if I worked hard and did things the right way, that His plan was going to come through in my life. And maybe it was to make a team, maybe it wasn't, and I could leave that to Him. And just my job was to go out and work as hard as I could and do what I could with the gifts He gave me. And I was blessed along the way to get to play with some great players and some great teams. But and as far as the temptations, I think just trusting that God has a plan for you, and that plan doesn't include those things, and that you can resist those and not worry about what people say, because you know that God has a plan for you.
Amen. And here, just the last question to wrap up. Now you get to come back home. You're here where you started your career, Wake Forest University. You're assistant basketball coach. You know, Coach Gibbs talked about having a game plan for life, having that impact, that influence, and you're able to do that as an assistant coach on his staff, but then also carrying that godly influence. Just talk a little bit about that and just having that game plan for life to be able to share with the young men that every year you get to mentor.
And, you know, obviously that's important, and for me it's really special being back at my alma mater. I think anytime you can go back somewhere where you spent a lot of your life and it was really important to you, and you formed a lot of your opinions and goals and dreams. So it's been a blessing to be back. We have some great young men in our program. You know, I try to be an example, just to live how I live my life and the way I lived, and obviously have gone through what they're going through daily and the challenges that go with it. So I just try to be a great mentor, and, you know, to the guys, and just try to say, hey, you know, I understand where you're coming from, understand where you've been, and what you're going through. Just keep working hard, you know, believe in the right things, do the right things, and good things will happen.
Well, I appreciate your time of sharing with us today, and I know everyone out there appreciate it just the same, to kind of give us a little insight of how God's using you, and we appreciate you and what you're doing here at Wake Forest, and we'll definitely be cheering you guys on, the Deeks on this year. So appreciate you guys for joining us another session with Chalk Talk with Rusty LaRue.